America, please join in the singing of our national anthem. Representing the three-time Stanley Cup champion New Jersey Devils, Arlette.
I feel like I'm at a game. Oh my gosh. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh, man, he only wishes.
Oh, man. That's not what I was expecting right there. That's a good shot.
No.
That's a good shot. That's
Yeah,
a good shot.
yeah. This is what he's
Okay,
doing in his
well,
off time.
Happy Devils Sunday. Oh, man. I thought we were actually going to have an interview with Jack Hughes there. Damn it. Damn it.
Well, actually, if he moves over a little to his right, we can still have Jack Hughes on.
Your other right.
There you go. Oh, that's better.
There you go. Now we're talking exclusive content here on the Let's Go Devils podcast. Welcome to the Sunday edition. Myself, Scotty, Shorts Guy, and Jack Hughes along for the ride. Hey, Jack.
Yeah,
Hope you're doing good.
I'm doing great.
I'm glad.
My knee feels good.
Oh, yeah. Something wrong with your voice there?
Nah, I was just yelling at the team for not playing good. And now,
When did you turn into like a grandmother from a 1950s like TV comedy or something like that?
I don't know. What's the matter with you? I don't know. What's the difference?
Now you're from Brooklyn. Okay, good to know.
Go.
All right, learning a lot of things about Jack Hughes tonight.
Do you have any
All
butterscotch
right.
candy to offer us there, Grandma?
See what happens.
Jack is gone.
They snatched him from us. The media department came in and snatched him from us. So we're going to try and get him back. And hopefully we'll have some big things later on in the show. But welcome, Beer Baron, Shorts Guy,
Hey, buddy.
Scotty.
Hey.
I don't know where Sam Woo's hanging out behind the scenes. We thought he was going to do the intro. Then he's like, nah, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to tell him about it. So, that's all good.
Yep.
That's all good.
As we were cutting to black and the intro was like, no, I'm just gonna, and it cut off. It's like, okay. Well. And the curtain goes
Jack
up,
Hughes
we'll figure
appeared.
it out. Yeah. Unbeknownst to
Yeah.
us, Jack Hughes was slated. So here we are.
The looks like the title of the show here is No Tanking, Devils Are Evaluating. And
Sure.
listen, they had a great game against the Dallas Stars here.
Yes,
But
they
before
did.
that, it was 4 in a row that were just unbelievably forgettable. But
my
I
God.
will say this last game, man, was it the Nico's show, because Nico Dawes stole it in the first and second, and then Nico Hischier basically took the team on his back in the third, and he created those 2 of the 3 goals all on his own. Yes, Ty Smith got the one shot, but it was all Nico Hischier. And if you go back and watch that, we were talking about it Devils After Dark. That man must have thighs of mountains. The stops and starts that he did on that first Ty Smith goal, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, across the crease, drop pass. Like, I mean, that was just grit and determination there, and that made me feel good. I was just like, oh, maybe we can at least get it to overtime and get a point so we can at least not lose one on the road. But Nico Hischier was like, hold my beer, Scotty. I'm going to go and win this game right now in the third period. And he really did. And there's not that much that we can take from this season. You know, with Siegenthaler going down was a big surprise, but I really like the progress of Nico Hischier. He's got a career high now, 54 points in only 63 games played. His career high previously came in the full 82. He played that first season all the way through. So like 20 less games, breaking that. There's a lot of things to complain about, but that one, I like the direction. And sometimes I forget he's only 23 years old. He would be just getting out of college if he grew up here in the States. You know, like it's crazy when sometimes we forget about that. I feel like Nico, you're like, oh, he's like 27, 28. No, he's not. He's 23.
He's 23. I know.
23.
It's such an odd season. For as bad as we are, there seems to be a lot of personal bests going on quietly amongst all of the rest of the crap that is this season. You know, you have players too. Jesper Bratt, you've got Jack was on pace for a monster season. We've got a couple 20-goal scorers on the team. It's just like there are all these quiet little pieces that are like around, but we just couldn't put it together for a full season. You know, it's like, you know, here we go out and blow all we did last week, and then Dallas, who is in the playoffs right now, you know, we're able to beat. You know, it's like, are
they still? Because they're battling right there with Vegas.
As of right now, they are over that line. They're over that line. They're tied in points. So
the Western Conference is tight there. It's a fun race.
It looks like Dallas has 2 fewer losses than Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Which is probably that's putting them over that line. So, but still, it's like, it's such a Jekyll and Hyde team. We talk about it all the time, and we've got all these little bright spots that are, you know, dimly lit around the team, because, you know, when you look at it as a whole, it's like, oh man, this team just sucks. But then you kind of break it down and you start looking at what some of these players are doing on a personal level. It's like, okay, there's a lot of positives here. It's not coming together as a team for some reason.
Yeah. So individual progress, but not team progress right now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Going off of that, though, I know Sammy, if he was on right now, would say stick with Ruff for one more year. Do you feel that it's time to move on and look at a new coaching staff? Or is it like, all right, roll it out one more time and see what happens? Because I don't know. I don't know if we can go through this again. I don't know if we can go through this like bottom of the league, watching the Rangers across the river, you know, celebrating the fact that they clinched a playoff spot. And here we are thinking about, will we get the number 1 overall pick again? Like,
yeah, I'm tired of that.
It's tough. I know Sam is big on keeping with Lindy. I mean, I definitely think he'll be here through the rest of the season. Personally, I thought he should have been fired like around New Year's, because it just felt like he'd lost the team. If I was the GM, yes, I would look for a different coach. That's just me. We know Fitzgerald and Lindy have ties for a long way back, even into the Florida Panthers days when Lindy was the assistant coach down there and Fitzy was playing. So. Right? Yeah, was that his first? I can't remember what it was, but they have some ties in the Florida Panthers.
They have loyalty to each other.
They're pals.
So I think he might be able to get another year out of this, but let me tell you, man, if they start out like crap again in that first month, he should start on the hot seat. That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then you would think that Fitzgerald puts himself right in the other hot seat next to him, because you can't roll this back and then have crummy results in the very beginning of the year, and then be like, well, it's only the coaching staff that's now in the hot seat, because no, it was your decision to roll this back again and to do it all over again. You know, like, when is this team? When is ownership? When is the GM going to be tired of mediocrity and tired of just being at the bottom of the standings and looking up at, teams? You have the Islanders for the last couple of years. You have the Rangers now, who are starting to, become a real contender, like a real deal contender, which back in the day, if the Rangers even sniffed at being good, Lou would be like posturing up and doing something. So, I mean, it's just,
Well,
I don't know.
listen, Shesterkin is having an MVP season, and also Kreider is close to 50 goals right now. Like, they're having career years. But don't get me wrong, Adam Fox is a bright young star over there. They got some talent. There's going to be a good rivalry come here. I think Ruff is going to get an extra year. But you're right. If it doesn't work out, then they need to get rid of him. If it's not working out in that first month, first 2 months of the season, you can't say it was, oh, we had COVID. Oh, there was no training camp. Oh, we had a lot of injuries. Oh, the taxi squad. Oh, we got the flu. Like, oh, none of our goaltenders have above a 900 save percentage. I think it's goaltending and coaching. Yeah, it's goaltending and coaching, in my opinion.
And, the question is, if it's not Lindy Ruff, then who? And do you have someone on call? Because do you really want to have to make a snap decision in the beginning of November? Because that's, because October started off with, like, let's say a 7-game slide. Okay, so you axe him the end of October, beginning of November. Now you're going to panic buy a coach. So you either should do it now, or you're going to have someone on immediate backup be like, listen, here's the deal. You're the guy when or if this goes sideways. Which then again, that's holding another person in limbo, because what if it doesn't go sideways until, let's say, December, and that other guy has got a more lucrative offer? So it's one of those things where if they go with Lindy Ruff again, we're probably going to see him for a while, because I would hate to see us make some kind of a snap decision and get a coach that's going to be even less effective, and now being thrown into it'll be at the beginning of a season there, November-ish, but that's different from being around the team from the beginning of September, and building those relationships.
What if you bring in Deneen, what if you bring in Kevin Deneen, who already has, relationships built with some of these teams through the minors, players through the minors?
That's altogether a possibility. You got to have these. If you're going to bring Ruff back, but have him on a short leash, you have to have a backup ready to go, essentially at a moment's notice. Or you make that clean break now at the end of the season, and you move forward. But again, it's if they axe Ruff at the end of the season, do you bring up Deneen and then that's your guy, or are you looking somewhere else?
Do you think he deserves? Do you guys think he deserves another chance? Like, think of it all, like the COVID, the shortened seasons, the no practices, the the injuries, the lack of goaltending. But there's also 13 shorthanded goals given up. There seems to be sleepwalking where they're taking games off. There was regression last year. Does Lindy Ruff deserve another season?
At times this year.
Yeah. Honestly, though, I like Lindy as a coach. I think he's a great coach. I think he's, a Hall of Fame coach and all that kind of stuff. But look at how many times this team blew a lead. How many games they just let slip away.
Yep.
How many times this team went out and they looked lethargic in, a third period or a second period where you had an intermission to, go in there and adjust or go in there and try to change things. there's certain things like I just feel like a fresh voice. Maybe it is Kevin Dineen, but Shorts Guy brought up a good point about do you do it now or do you wait until next season and then you pull the plug? You don't want to have a dead man walking because first of all, that puts everybody on edge. That puts the coach on edge. And I mean, if he knows that he's got 1 foot in the grave and he's coaching for his life, it doesn't really add that good of an atmosphere to the rest of the team. We've seen it happen before, and it never really works out. I mean, there's been a few times where it's like turned around. Tom Coughlin with the New York Giants is a good example of like, he changed his whole philosophy and changed the way he was, and he was almost out the door, and then boom, they win a Super Bowl. And a lot of people credit that to like him being able to change his whole philosophy and just who he is. I don't think Ruff is going to do that, and I don't think bringing him back next year is going to be beneficial to the team, unless Jack and Nico and your top stars walk into Fitzgerald's office and are like, "You need to keep Ruff." I think you need to move on. But if the players say no, keep him, we're doing the right thing, then maybe you listen to him. But other than that, I think you need a new, fresh perspective. I agree.
Like I said, I thought they should have fired him in around New Year's when they went on that other terrible streak again. I was like, they're sleepwalking. They're sleepwalking through games. They looked unprepared, unmotivated.
If they're gonna keep Ruff and they're gonna give him another season, that means that they need to go out and not only get new goaltending, but hire someone to go scout some goaltending, because they're just our goaltending woes in the last couple of years has just been horrific. It's just like, the Hamburger comes in and he just
nobody with current injuries, please. No current injuries.
Oh my God! Like that bringing in the Hamburger to me is one of the most perplexing trades. It's like, why? Just his performances.
He was on waivers, I think. I think he was on.
No,
waivers.
He wasn't on waivers. That was a trade deadline.
That was our one move on the trade deadline. Some Schneed or something like that.
That's right. They gave up.
Nate Schnarr.
Schnarr.
That's who it is. Yeah.
Who was having a great year in Utica, by the way. So trade one of the best kids in Utica for a goaltender who doesn't even come close to fixing the situation, but going out and publicly saying, I got the goaltender that the team deserves. Okay.
Yeah. If you're going to give Ruff one more year, you need to give him a legitimate goaltender for next season to start with. You need to go out and you need to bring in a legitimate goaltender that will solidify that spot. Right now, it's anybody's net, because no one has proven. The only one that's come close to proving that maybe he can get a chance at it is Nico Dawes, but even he is not ready for that position yet. And who the hell knows? Maybe sending him down to Albany at the end of the season, or not Albany. Listen to me. Send him down to Utica at the end of the season. And
send him down to Lowell.
They can't. They can't though. They can't send him down because he was. No, well, he was on the NHL. He was on the NHL roster after the trade deadline. So
right?
So like because he was on the trade deadline, so now he can't. We can't even do that. Can't even do that anymore. Can't even get the kids some playoff experience.
Damn, I was really hoping that. But it's like he's the only one that's proven in net so far this season that he's got something there, but he's not ready for this type of. He's just not ready for this yet. Yeah, it's
like
frustrating.
Play every game, kid.
Yeah,
don't let one in.
Well, and then that's the problem. That's the problem with this team currently. You're either going to get half a dozen in goal support, or if you let one in, you're going to lose the game. Yeah. Or they're going to give you half a dozen in the first half of the game and basically go get changed for the second half of the game and watch you play against five unopposed players.
Like a 5-on-0.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you're definitely going to be facing at least, I would say, 5 to 6 2-on-1s during the game at some point.
At least,
buddy. Get ready.
Hey, you want somebody in the high slot or the low slot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want somebody just
How about-
wide open right in front of you. You're like right in
Oh.
front of you. Yeah.
Oh,
good
and
for
let's
was
not
that?
forget about that wide open back post too. We'll leave that open too.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we'll really
Wide
give them a
open,
chance.
Wide open.
What was
Defensive
the
structure on this team is a nightmare, and it's not even like it used to be. Like people would complain on, like, well, the Devils just don't have good defensemen. They have good defensemen. They don't
Yeah.
have like this team, and that's why circling back to the coaching. It always felt like there was something fundamentally wrong with this team. Where you're watching it and you're like, man, I'm not an NHL coach, and I know that was a bad setup. That's a bad play. The power play, for how bad it is, you have Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt, and you have Nico Hischier, and it's the same set. Like, we set up the same way, we pass the puck the same way, and when it's not working, we never adjust. They never adjust. It's like, oh, just keep doing it until it works. It's like having the first car you ever got, and you get in it and you go to turn the key and nothing happens. But keep turning that key and maybe the engine will turn over. And when it does, you're like, oh, get this jalopy down the street. And there you go. That's the Devils. They're an old, beat-up 1989 Hyundai Excel. That's what they are, because that was my first car. They're a beat-up powder blue with a red.
I thought you were talking about the old, what was it, that Kia Sportage there? That stopped turning on there after a while?
Yeah, listen, that car was fantastic for the, it got broken into like 15 times when I lived in Philly because it was a soft back. People just peel the back, reach around. I learned not to keep anything valuable in there, and then one day they just stole my armrest because I guess they got pissed off at me that I was like not keeping anything of value in my car.
Why waste their time? Why waste their time? Jeez. But yeah, no. One thing about the defense, though, we were talking about it the other day because Sam Wu and I, on the old Devils After Dark. One thing that kind of sucks about this season is someone who was having a really good season, surprising, I think, to most people, because I didn't have him penciled in as anything more than a 6th or 7th defenseman, was Jonas Siegenthaler, who broke his hand, unfortunately. He's going to be out for the rest of the year. But how do you guys feel about him now? Like I said, I didn't think of him as any more than like an extra defenseman who can come in and maybe fill in here and there. And he logged some big time minutes. And I feel like he really took a lot of good steps, in the correct direction there. I mean, he was playing top line minutes when he went down. What is your guys feeling about this kid?
Solid. He had a really solid year. And if you don't believe that, and if you're not that you look at his numbers, and if all the analytics and all the stats that are about what his year was, he had a very, very solidly defensive year. He's not going to wow you with offensive numbers. He's not going to put up a ton of goals or assists and things like that. But he was a really reliable defenseman, and that's all you could really ask for.
Yeah, I was surprised with how much time he's been getting and how he's progressed over the season, and was not expecting what he's done for this team this year. So it's been a positive surprise, and again, it's one of those positives throughout the season. Those small positives we're seeing. I think Siegenthaler is one of them, because I don't know if many of us, Scotty, you said you had him penciled in at 6th and 7th. I don't think anyone really knew what to expect when we brought him in. If he would turn into anything, let alone playing the minutes he's played this season. So that's a huge positive for this team right now, and it's just like a good surprise from this season, and I'm happy with how he's played. Maybe that's our one of our next great defensemen in the making right there.
Yeah. Now, are either of you surprised that Jesper Bratt has not been extended? Like his contract has not been resolved yet? There was talks that it was going to happen. Do you think they're waiting until the end of the year? Like, but throw us a bone. We're in a stretch of like just dog dump, for the rest of the year because we're not really playing for anything anymore. And are the Devils tanking? No, but whatever. Like, it doesn't matter when you're bottom 3. Who cares? So, Devils, throw
Bottom
us a little
4.
bone.
All right,
Bottom
four.
whatever.
Yeah.
But at
Okay.
this point, the Canadians are going to
Jeez.
overtake us. The Canadians have Martin St. Louis has been a breath of fresh air. Ooh, new coaching.
Yep.
Look at what happens. And he took Cole
Too late,
Caulfield,
though.
who was
Too
having
late.
way too late. He was
You
Cole
just
Caulfield.
love Cole Caulfield.
I do.
You have such a man crush on
See ya,
him.
Mikey. Get out of here, Mikey. You're old news.
Later, McLeod.
Get out of
Yeah,
here,
okay.
McLeod, you bum.
You never forget your first love, Beer Baron.
Well, I forget him when he can't put up more than 2 goals in the season. I don't care how good you are in faceoffs. Like, dude, you have to start producing.
But when one of those 2 goals go in, you get excited.
I mean, it's neither here nor there. But yeah, whatever, man. I hope they extend Bratt sooner than later. Give him a decent deal and then give us something to be happy about.
I think that'll be coming because they have to make a qualifying offer to Miles Wood as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so long, Zaka.
Yeah. Poor
And then
Pavel, but
he'll go somewhere and do great.
He will. 100 million %.
He'll be a great top line or at least top 2 line key piece to some team somewhere, and we couldn't get it to work here. It's just the way it happens.
Yep. 100%.
Boquist as well will be an RFA. So Zaka, Boquist, Bratt, Wood, Zetterlund.
Zetterlund, I think we should qualify.
And that's it on the RFAs.
Any UFA besides PK? Yeah.
PK, Colton White, Mason Gearston, AJ Greer, Jimmy Vesey. That is it. Tatar and Janssen will be a UFA after next season.
Bring back Greer on like a 2-year deal, two-way 2-year
We
deal.
didn't see them here next year.
Who Gearston? I tell you what, Gearston. I would bring
that may
Gearston
be.
back.
I don't know. But
yeah, I know there's a lot of people that are not a big Gearston fan, but you know what, I think that he serves a role in this team. I'd bring him back for another year. Just keep 1 year in him.
Yeah, he's going to be 27. He's only making $725. Hell's bells.
Yeah.
Give the guy a raise a little bit, and then sign him up for a year or two.
$825. Give him the old $825. But I mean, VZ that's a good question mark right there. What do you guys think? Do you think you want to bring him? Would you bring him back now that Miles Wood's going to be healthy? But VZ's he's good on the PK. He's a good situationally, so, and he can score.
If you're bringing him in for the right price, I'd say bring him back. If it's for the right price, you can bring him back because he's been effective when he needed to be. Nothing show-stopping, but I'd be okay if they brought him back as that, 4th line. Just have him there.
I feel like
as long as he doesn't take away from Ace from somewhere else.
Yeah, that's I could see him coming back as a 4th liner. I think he's a good depth forward. I'm surprised actually someone didn't want to pick him up at the deadline with his
that deadline
penalty killing skills and everything like that. I thought for sure someone was going to try and sneak him. I didn't know if PK was going to get moved, but I thought someone would try to come in and grab Jimmy Vesey, on the cheap. But either way, I see with Miles Wood coming back healthy. Man, looking at that 4th line there with like a Wood, Bastian, McLeod, that was pretty nasty, when that was moving there. And I like Jimmy Vesey, but I just don't want to see him playing up on the top lines like that. If there's not a spot for him on the 4th line, I'm so on it. But you never know. People get injured, things happen, people get traded. You never know.
Yeah.
Mikey McLeod might get shipped to Edmonton for Connor McDavid, in a one-for-one deal.
The trade
they want to
is
reunite
1-for-1.
1-for-1 to reunite the McLeod brothers in Edmonton. That's what they want to do.
Because that'll put Edmonton over the edge. Because that'll put Edmonton over that edge.
That will solve their problem.
I was reading this thing about Connor McDavid. Somebody was like, how does this soulless machine have the best talent in the entire NHL? He doesn't have a speck of like charisma or anything in him. And I'm like, it's kind of true. Like, he's the nastiest player, but if you ever see him, he always looks like bummed out. I mean, he is playing for Edmonton, but he just like he will dangle an entire team, not pass the puck once, score a ridiculous goal, and then celebrate like, yeah, and then you go to him on the bench, he's like this. Like someone's like, Connor, score a goal or we're gonna kill your dog, and he scores, and they're like, oh, we didn't think you'd do that, so we actually already did. We killed the dog, so sorry. Connor McDavid. I don't know, man. I'm off on a tangent. I don't know.
Yeah.
Somewhere he's crying inside his soul. It's the end of the year. What do you want from me? It's the end of the year. This team's terrible. Like, I have nothing to talk about anymore. My brain just starts going off into these weird adventures. You're watching a Devils game.
How many weeks left?
That's fine.
3.
3 weeks left.
3 weeks. Yeah, we got
thrilling.
10 games?
Thrilling, compelling hockey. All right. Well, here's the question:
10 games.
Would you bring PK Subban back at a much lesser price than his $9 million cap hit right now? Let's say like a 3.5. 35 is as much as I would go. I wouldn't go 4. Would you bring him back for like, I don't know, a 3-year deal at 3.5 per?
That's tough. It does sound intriguing, but I'm also intrigued with Riley Walsh and some of the other prospects down there in Utica. Maybe if you swung Ty Smith in some sort of deal to get someone, then you could bring PK back. But I don't know. That's a toughie. I would be intrigued at the lower price tag, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
I would. Because
lower price tag. You got a young crop of defensemen. Someone's got to be there. If you can bring him in for a lesser amount, it's not like he's been terrible. No, I don't think he's lived up. He's not lived up to the price tag. That's without a doubt. But if he were to come back at a lower structured contract, that's good for the Devils. I mean, it wouldn't be worth a shot, because at that point too, he's easier to trade if you need to. If he's got a lower, if he's got a lower value contract, and willing to do a short term, 2-3 years or whatever, he's more movable than he is at $9 million. That's a tough ask as a rental. Whereas, God forbid we're in the same place next year at the trade deadline. At that point, he has more value as trade bait, or if he's on a 1-year deal or whatever, he's as a rental. So it's intriguing. If he wants to stay here and he wants to sign for lower, it may not be a bad move.
It's interesting, because if you really have faith in what's going on in Utica, and you really are like, all right, right-hand defenseman for right-hand defenseman. If you get rid of PK, you're bringing up Riley Walsh, unless they make a move in free agency or make a trade. This team they're pieces away, right? Goaltending is an obvious issue. So looking at where this team is going to finish, I don't know if you make the trade before. Well, you'd have to make it before the actual draft. But if you're looking at the team, and you're like, okay, the draft lottery happens. Devils don't get the number 1 pick, but they still have a 3 or a 4. Would you try to trade that 3 or 4 in this draft for? You think I have a man crush on McLeod, who's Scotty's goaltending man crush over there, the Connor Hellebuck.
Oh, Hellebuck. Yeah.
Would you try to send a very high draft pick in this draft, because this draft seems like it's going to be okay, especially in that first like 5 picks? Would you send that draft pick away to, I don't know, possibly Winnipeg to get a Hellebuck or somebody that maybe there is a deal to be made? You package that deal, that pick with Mackenzie Blackwood, and you send it to whomever, and you get a goaltender. Would you be willing to do that, or you say, no, stay pat and do what we're doing? Ooh, look at the gears turning. Look at them gears. God, I mean to stump both of you.
Why'd you
I'm
go to
all
me,
for
Sam?
bringing in-
Go to Shorts Guy. Go to Shorts Guy. Put him on the main window over here. Don't go to me.
Put me on the spot. Here we go. I mean, I wouldn't mind bringing in Hellebuck if we can get him. We need someone.
I mean,
or something.
hell, he's got hell in his name. It works for the Devils.
It would work, and he's an American kid, which I think would be great.
Yeah.
I would just any kind of a solid, established goaltender, any way to get it, within reason, I think would be a good move. That should be top of the list. That should be the top of the list in capital letters, 3-inch letters, goalie, just on the top of the list. Just that's the list.
In Sharpie.
That's
in Sharpie.
in
Yeah,
Sharpie,
permanent marker.
3D block capital letters, goalie.
Like Horrible Bosses. Remember when he writes like a murder boss in like the Sharpie on the erase board? And he's like, these are permanent. These are permanent. We don't use these on here.
That was actually a very good impersonation there, Scotty.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. My Jason.
That's
Jason.
That's the top thing we got to do. And if we get that higher pick and we can move it for a goaltender, an established goaltender, to me, with the way this team is and what this team desperately needs, I think we need a goaltender more than we need another potential, draft pick. Because the draft picks are never guaranteed anyway. I'd rather have them for us.
The last time the Devils spent a high draft pick on a goaltender, if you do remember, that was a number 6 pick overall for one Corey Schneider. And it didn't really pan out in the Devils' favor because, they just had a terrible team built around him in his first couple of years. And we all know the story, so we don't Well, no. Yeah. I'm saying the last time that they took... Was it 9th? I thought it was 6. Was it 9th overall? Whatever. 9th overall.
Well, a 9 looks like a 6 real easy when you're not paying attention.
Yeah, 69.
It looks like a Bo Horvat. That's what it looks like. It looks like a Bo Horvat.
Yeah, it does look like a California-looking kid. So they traded that draft pick. Obviously, different regime, different GM, different everything. But I think they need to do this. They need to do something of significance. You can't just bring in a Bernier, and you can't bring in a Crawford, and you can't bring in these guys that are like on the back end of the 9, like that are not gonna, that are possibly hurt, that possibly have all sorts of things going on.
You know what they need to do? Whoever's doing the scouting for the goaltending for the Devils, because they've struck out the last 3 years. You got to give him like that little card in The Simpsons that Homer has when he pulls it out and says, "Do the opposite of whatever the boy tells you." They should just, whoever's looking at the goaltending situation, give him a card that says, "Do the opposite of whatever it is you're thinking of doing." Because whatever's right now, we have more bad goaltending moves in the last 3 years than we have anything else, and it's just so frustrating.
It's true. I mean, like Beer Baron was saying, how many 1-goal games or blown leads did we have because of just Listen, the defense didn't help out a lot of times, but we didn't have a goaltender making those clutch saves every now and then. Our teams can score some goals. We can score some goals.
Oh, yeah.
Like our goals for is pretty decent. Our goals against is beyond terrible. But our
weren't we talking about this? And it was like 23 games. Isn't it like 23 potential games that we've dropped?
Yeah,
over the course
it's
of the
something like
season?
that.
Yeah,
I don't know how many
which is
leads
ridiculous.
we've had that we've blown this year. We've blown so many leads. I haven't.
Yeah.
I would have to look up the analytics on it to see the actual number, but it's a lot. It has to be tops in the league.
Yeah,
But we
it's
also had a lot of
it's-
comebacks. That's that goal scoring. You see that coming along. So, like we said,
Yeah.
individual stuff, there's some positives
Yep.
there. But on the team effort, you still have the L. Because, you scored 4, but you gave up 6.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's scary is like you see this team and you're like, if the Devils scored 5 goals, should be an automatic win.
Yeah.
Do you remember a Devils team that could score 5 goals at will? Not really.
No.
Not really. Maybe
No,
that
we
2012 team with Parisi and Kovalchuk, but they weren't even putting up numbers like this. This team, at the very beginning of the podcast, Short Sky brought up a great point of the individual success of Sharon Govich and Bratt and Heischer and Hughes. And there's all these little success stories, and there's all these guys that are making like career numbers for themselves. And we have games where the Devils are scoring like 6 goals, 5 goals, 7 goals, and they're still losing. And you're like, oh my God.
In
like
spectacular fashion.
Oh,
Fashion. Are we losing?
Oh, going into the third period, we're up 6-2. I should be able to turn the TV off and go and take a nap. But no.
Yep.
Nope. Those are the games that you're like, oh man, we're so comfortably ahead. And if you're at the stadium with your friends, you're like, you know what? I normally don't do this, but I will get up out of my seat and go get some food in the middle of the period because who cares? And then all of a sudden you just hear the TVs going off, and that's it.
I know. It's frustrating.
Terrible. Very frustrating.
If we would have had a
Very
goaltender,
frustrating.
if we would have had a goaltender to keep us in some of those games, or just a competent goaltender just to make saves, I think we would be better off. Would be, even if it's like, because I can't remember the stat, but even if we had gotten 23 more points, let's say all 23 just for ease of numbers were lost points because we went to overtime and lost, we'd still be 66, 76. We'd still be only at like almost 80 points, which is still below the playoff line. But and I know a lot of those games were not, we didn't get anything out of, so it would probably be more than that. But we could potentially be at least fighting with the Islanders in the, well, I guess the Islanders aren't going to make it either, but we could at least be up near that line instead of well below the line.
And having a more interesting and fun, exciting season. Do you know what I mean? Like being able to like be in April and be like, damn, oh man, we have like the individual success is great because all of us can sit down and be like, wow, okay, the core of the team is really moving in the right direction, right? Nico is really starting to be, come into his own. Jack is starting to prove that he's a superstar. And if these guys could stay healthy for a full 82, wow, they're going to put up damn near, like Jack is going to get into that 100-point area
Jack
easily.
is, he really is, man.
And you look at like what's going on with the team, but the problem is like as a whole, it's not working. I'll go back to the crappy car scenario. You're driving around in a crappy car that has like a really great system and great rims and maybe one of those fancy spoilers. But guess what? It's still a piece of crap. It ain't going to do much. And that's what's so frustrating about the team is like, and you feel bad for Nico Dawes. Like, who knows what's going on with Mackenzie Blackwood? Because the stories of like, whatever, we're not going to get into all that crap, but all over the place. But Nico Dawes, like, he could potentially he's 20 years old. He could potentially be one of those kids that, all right, he's going to grow into this role and then boom, because like a defenseman, goaltenders normally don't jump into the league and are like lights out. You have a couple of success stories, but for the most part, that's a role that you grow into. And I'm hoping that that's what Dawes is going to do. But in the meantime, you got to get somebody that's competent, even a Fleury, for like a year or two, until you know for a fact. I know he's not. I'm just saying, like, but somebody of that like ilk. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, what's his name?
Dawes isn't a sure shot to make the team next year. You can't say it yet. No. I'm sure he's going to get his opportunity in training camp, but
that's what I'm saying.
They're going to say,
you know
they're
what?
Not going to say he's the number one going in.
And you know what? With the way Fleury is playing right now in Minnesota, Cam Talbot could be available.
Yeah,
Cam Talbot could become available now that Fleury is like breaking team records up there in Minnesota. Cam Talbot could become available. For us to snap up in some kind of a trade or whatnot. So that's there, but whoever they bring in, just let them not get one. Let them make it through training camp without retiring. 2, let them make it through the first week of the season without being out with injury. Make sure that they're double checked and triple checked by 4 different doctors to make sure
they have hips.
No underlying injury.
Make sure that they actually have hips.
That they have all kinds of working body parts.
Make sure it's like Shakira.
Make sure the name is not Peter Sidorkowitz, all right? If it is, ask him to raise his arm above his head. Can he do that? Yeah. Can he raise his glove arm above his head?
They need whoever's doing their goalie scouting has been absolutely terrible. Not to
Mike
say
Clemenson?
I would do it any
is
better.
It Mike Clemenson?
Oh man!
I'm being serious. Know. Is that who it is? I thought it was like Mike Clemenson. That was the.
You mean Scott Clemenson?
I have no idea.
Or Scott Clemenson. I don't know if Mike Clemenson. Mike Clemenson, Scott Clemenson's strange brother.
But
that's his strange brother.
But then Fitz coming in saying he's gotten the goalie this team deserves. It's like Fitz was taking credit for the Hamburglar coming in, and the Hamburglar is looking like he doesn't know what's going on.
No, he looks like the Hamburglar. Like
yeah. I'd take Gillies over. I would take Gillies over him. Any
the worst part about that statement too is like you realize that the fan base is not dumb. Like we're not all breathing in spray paint.
I feel like he thinks the fan base is dumb.
I really do too, because like first of all, okay. In the times that the Devils had multiple first-round picks in the last couple of years, I know like we made this pick for Chase Stillman, and who knows, Chase Stillman might turn out to be the next Jay Pandolfo. I don't know, somebody, right? What drives me crazy is like we had draft capital in the last couple of years that we could have used to make a significant move for some of the glaring holes in this team, aka goaltending. I also understand that Mackenzie Blackwood at points looked like he was better than Carter Hart. He was better than this guy. He was going to be the next thing. He was going to be the next great goalie. And it wasn't just the team saying it. There were outside, quote-unquote, experts that were pinning Blackwood as being a top 10 goalie in the league.
Team Canada.
Exactly. Yeah. They're like, oh, he could easily... And whatever's going on with Blackwood is going on with Blackwood, and it sucks. Because I really thought, and we all thought, and I think I could speak for all of us, that he was going to be the heir apparent to fix that situation. It was going to be like, okay, goaltending is okay, and now we can move out and work on everything else.
I was never officially sold, but I was getting there.
I was hoping. But I had a lot of hope.
I wonder if the Devils could possibly try to make a move. And listen, the whole like moving this new top 5, top whatever, it's going to be a very high draft pick this year for a goaltender. Do you try to go after, and I doubt this would happen, I know people will kill me for this, but do you go after
Connor McDavid?
Yes, exactly. And get that soulless human being over here so you can just
Pavelzak for Connor McDavid straight up.
One for one.
No, do you try to go?
Do you try to go to
a reclamation project
to Florida? Because Florida looks like they're trying to go all in this year, and if they can't make it this year, they're definitely going in all next year. Do you go after Florida and you say, "Hey, we'll give you that number 1, we'll give you Blackwood, for Spencer Knight. I highly, highly doubt. I know I'm not crazy. I know that would never happen, but
Are you sure?
I don't know. You never know.
Are you sure you're not?
And then that would reunite Jack Hughes with his friend Spencer Knight because they played in the same team in the U.S. Development League.
I think this is all just a plot to get Cole Caulfield on the team. That's basically what it is. He's trying to reunite
full
the
circle.
And now,
United,
since
and
these
it
guys are
feels
here,
so good.
I don't know if that trade's gonna go down. I don't know if that trade's gonna go down.
I know
there.
it probably won't.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, that probably not. But again, we'd be bringing in another unproven young goaltender that we don't know if they're going to be the guy. And I really want to have a goaltender that we can rely on, and not like all right, kid, let's see what you got this season for us. Maybe you'll be the guy, and then we rip through another seven or eight goaltenders throughout the season. I'm
Connor
okay with
Hellebuyck.
Hellebuyck. I'm okay with him. I'm okay with Cam Talbot. Now that situation in Minnesota is all screwy, I'll take that. Not like I'll do any better than what we have, but I'll go play. At least I'll have a heart for the team. At least leave it on the ice for the team. I would give exclusive interview rights to this podcast. That's for sure.
Yes. Woo! Locker room coverage. Here we go.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go. Now I'm unfrozen.
Dude, you know what? You know what's sad too is like I wonder if you put in a decent goaltender into this team, and if you brought in, we were talking about this the last couple of weeks, that third line, which is like the invisible line at points. If you bring in like another scoring threat to the team, so you can start to stack your lines a little bit differently. Like, is this team that close, not to being playoff contenders, but being where they're above 500, like being a relevant team? Like, how close do you think they actually are? Are you really only like 2-3 pieces away?
I think they're to get into 500. I think they're a goaltender. I think a lot of this year was on the goaltending. I mean, was 7? We've had 7 so far this year. I mean, look at the numbers.
Let's go through them.
I think it's 7. I think it's 7.
We had Mackenzie Blackwood.
It's pretty bad.
We had Wedgwood. We had Gillies. We had Bernier. We had Dawes. We
Hamburglar,
had
6.
Schmid.
Akira
Schmid.
Schmid, 7.
Schmid, 7.
And we're missing somebody. We're missing an 8. There is an 8. Oh,
wasn't me. Should have been me, but wasn't me.
Oh, I don't remember. I think maybe it was 7. Look it up, Scotty. You're looking at something. Look it up. See who played goaltender for the Devils this year. I want to say it's 8 because I think the record is 8, which was set by the Flyers a couple years ago, not even that long ago. I was like, oh man, if we can get to 9, at least we have something to cheer about. Mediocrity.
Oh my gosh! At this point, they should just hold open tryouts for anyone that wants to come and skate with the team right now.
Yeah, right. If you were on a team, would you have a season-ending injury? I'd be like, oh, my knee just doesn't feel right, Doc. Here's $1,000 to tell them that it's bad for the rest of the year. Not to say that anybody's doing that, but I mean, like, come on, man.
Nico Dawes, by the way. Oh, look at that. I didn't even see this. Mackenzie Blackwood and Nico Dawes. We don't have a goalie in the top 50 in the league. Scott Wedgwood is, but he's not on the team anymore. But Mackenzie Blackwood and Nico Dawes both played 23 games. Mackenzie Blackwood was 9-9. Nico Dawes is 9-11. And Mackenzie Blackwood save percentage 894. Nico Dawes 893. Goals against 3.29 for Blackwood, 3.19 for Nico Dawes.
Ouch.
Yeah. Number
Woof.
51 and number 52.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we're a goaltender away from being 500. We're a goaltender away from maybe being within punching distance of that line, the playoff line, the wild card line. But
Elusive numbered 8. Yeah.
yeah, the elusive one. We're but then again, we were talking to Chico last week. He had mentioned on the radio broadcast last week that the Islanders may be looking to trade off Varlamov and keep Schneider as the backup. Varlamov could become available for
By the
trade.
way, just real quick, Connor Hellebuck, 13th ranked goalie in the league. 25 wins, 25 losses on the Winnipeg, but a .911 save percentage, 2.94 goals against.
Yeah, that's better than us.
Shorts guy, can I ask you a beer trivia?
It's a difference right there.
As we're
It is
getting
a difference.
down to the as we're getting down to the wire here for the end of the show, I want to ask you a trivia question because you are a history teacher.
Okay.
The beer that I'm drinking tonight is from a brewery. By the way, we're not sponsored by any of these breweries, but I just enjoy them. By Wet Ticket, which is out of Rahway, I believe. I can't really read it because it's very small. I think it's out of Rahway. So Wet Ticket.
Reading's hard for art people.
Pretty
so
much.
Overrated for those art teachers.
Yeah, if it's not shapes and colors, it doesn't matter. Anyway.
So it is Rahway. The only way I knew that is
it's
because
friggin' Rahway. You know that? It's friggin' Rahway. I did have it
so
right.
Wet Ticket.
Well, you know.
Wet Ticket is named after something. Do you know what it's
Is
named
this a strip
after?
club?
No, dude, it's a beer. It's a brewery.
Oh,
Knucklehead.
Wet Ticket.
Because
Sounds
they
like a
had the
strip
history
club.
of it on the side, and I was like, oh, I wonder if Shorts guy would know this.
Wet Ticket. I'm gonna need a little bit more information for me to even venture a guess.
It has to do with an
Give me any
election.
hints?
It has to do with an election.
Yeah, because there's only been 3 elections in our nation's history at any level of
Ever.
government.
Ever.
I'm thinking stripper. Does Def Leppard's "Pour Some Sugar on Me" play when you open the can?
I hate that song.
Yes, but
I
only
hate
in my
that song.
head.
That's
Yeah.
a stripper.
I think,
It's a
you know what? I
stripper.
think everybody hates that song. Wet Ticket candidates. So this is the little history lesson. Wet
All right, let's hear
Ticket
it.
candidates from both parties ran for office on a pledge to repeal prohibition. Once elected, the Wets were successful in their efforts. The same for blah blah blah. But I thought that was interesting. So it's named after
That is cool.
Yeah,
that is cool. That makes a ton of sense. I wasn't even thinking that. I wasn't even thinking with the repeal of prohibition.
I was way
Still
off
think-
That's cool.
with the stripper.
He's just
Samsonite.
thinking
I was way off.
Splits and Stilettos, Scotty. Splits and Stilettos. That's the other brewery that we know. And Splits and Stilettos is
Yeah.
also not named after strippers, but you can imagine. You can imagine the confusion. You can imagine the confusion. Yeah, Hey, listen. Little sidebar. I found a liquor store near me that it carries every beer from every brewery in New Jersey that's willing to send things out, and it's fantastic. It's amazing.
Nice.
Excellent.
It's what gets me through the Devil season. So that's where we're at.
Well, I think we should probably get to final thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I got a good one too.
Oh yeah. Okay. Why don't you go ahead then, Mr. Good Guy?
Okay. My final thought is something that we've talked about before in this podcast about not just the experience going to the game and watching the game as a whole or the Devils on the ice. It's about the entertainment and everything that's going on in the arena. Talking about some of these local breweries, I think it would be really cool for the Devils to really invest into New Jersey a little bit more. This is something that we've talked about exclusively, on this podcast, but also, it's been said in other places. Bring in more of Jersey-centric things into the arena and actually highlight them and not bring them in for a little bit and then cancel them. Bring in people that are from the state that know something about the state, that can relate to people from the state, that are, willing to reach out and be like, oh yeah, whoa, Rahway, yeah, that's a place. Make this team about the state, because it is our only professional team. There's so many things that need to be fixed on the ice and off the ice. And next year, I hope that we have a winning product on the ice, and that also kind of translates out into what we're fan experiencing in the stands. That's it. Fix everything, essentially.
There you go. That would fix it. As long as they call it Taylor Ham, I think we'll be good.
And 5 people just turned off.
Whatever. It's not my fault they're wrong. It's not my fault that they're wrong in this argument, because I know I'm right. Durango Steve would argue otherwise, but his opinion on the matter doesn't count. My final thought is it's going to, we've got 2 games this week that could be winning games and one that probably won't be, but who the hell knows what team is going to show up against Arizona, Colorado, or Seattle at any point this week. So, unfortunately, I hate to say this and I hate to admit it, especially on the podcast, but the way this team is, staying up until midnight on a work day on Tuesday just to see what might or might not happen is just not going to do it for me this week. So
nope.
This is one of those weeks where I'm going to be seeing the score early, when I get up in the morning, because it's too late and they're not giving us much to really watch for. As much as that's a negative final thought, it's the reality of everything. So this is going to be a week where I'm going to see the scores when I wake up in the morning.
Hey, by the way, I think it would be the coolest thing in the world if the Kraken did a tribute video to Nathan Bastian. I mean, as like kind of like a spoof. Because all the teams do that. They're like, oh, this guy, give him a tribute video. I think it would be hilarious if they did a tribute video to Nathan Bastian, but whatever. What do I know?
You're assuming that they have personality there.
Well, they might. They might have more personality than we have with one reporter.
Yeah, it's true. Scotty, final thought?
My final thoughts are just let's goes Nikos. You two are doing a good job right now. Nico Hischier throughout the entire year. Nico Dawes, and up and down. I know it's tough, kid, but here's your shot. Take it.
Yeah.
You've made some big clutch saves
a hard
before.
choice.
Make it a hard choice on the coaching staff and management. Kevin Ball, same thing. Make them not want to send you back down next year. Make them want to pencil you in for a certain spot next year. This is your opportunity these last 10, 11 games. AJ Greer, Fabian Zetterlund as well. But really, Kevin Ball, Nico Dawes, it's your time to shine, kids. Let's do it.
Yep.
And that's all I got. We're wrapping up here for the big Sunday night edition. We're going to be back for we got hockey on tap on Monday nights. We got the old game day live going to be coming on Tuesday when the Devils take on the who the hell are we playing on Tuesday?
That's the Arizona game.
Arizona, that's right. If they haven't been kicked out of their arena yet.
Because they have a place to play.
We thought
they can play in the parking lot.
They're going to be playing roller hockey apparently when the Devils go to town.
They're going to be playing. They're going to be playing roller hockey on the roof of the Quick Stop.
Yeah. You get another ball down there.
Coyotes management can't pay their property taxes and everything. Yeah. So, but yeah, very winnable game. But Vinny will be along for Game Day Live. And along with Sam Wu, and then I'll be with you on the late night, the real After Dark, Devils After Dark, talking post-game afterwards, and we'll see how Sam Wu's holding up. I already heard Shorts Guy and Beer Baron have turned me down for guest spots this week on the show. So
100%, 100%.
Yes,
we'll see how it goes. But hopefully we'll be talking some Devils victories, and then of course State of the Fan address coming on Wednesday with Nick Villano. Pucks and Pitchforks. That's where you can catch Nick, Vinny, and our very own Sam Wu writing articles about this team, the New Jersey Hockey Devils.
Scotty, you could be, for Devils After Dark this week, you could just call it Good Morning New Jersey because it'll be after midnight.
Good morning,
You're actually
Yeah.
on.
It's true.
Okay.
Devils in the
Good morning, New Jersey.
New Jersey! I sound like Sam Wu on the football calls. Are you ready, New Jersey? It's dead red instead of true blue. All right, everybody. Until next
right, let's call it.
time. Let's go, Devils. Woo!